Are there any sessions that stand out to you from this week as just the most outstanding, or at least that you were the most excited for?
Oof, there are so many. The classic is the hotlines, and I like the hotlines particularly this year because of their combination of, new drugs, new devices, but also way of practicing, challenging existing way of practicing. I mean, we just had the popular TAVI, aspirin, clopidogrel in patients with TAVI. These are all investigator-led trials asking themselves a question, and asking, some of the trials, quite a good proportion, were actually funded by public money or pragmatic trials that have been presented. So there was also a session on COVID trials and see what has been successful, what has been a failure, what do we take from there and apply to cardiovascular disease. I think, what I really like about this time is how much we can learn from it and then take it forward, focusing on the positive. Nobody obviously wished that there was a COVID crisis, but now that we've had it and we're still having it, what is it that we can learn from it and what we can take further? And that aspect is very good. I'm also very interested in the basic science I'm looking forward to. I'm looking forward to the gold medal sessions to hear from people so diverse, clinical population and basic science investigators. Really, what is it that where did they find the motivation of reaching those heights? I mean, if you think about someone like Kari Stephenson going to Iceland and funding DECODE, genotyping the whole population of Iceland, you wish that you were there in the moment that that thought popped in his mind, because, that is really, I don't know what happens to you. To me, I always say, if someone had told me about eBay, I would have said, it's never going to work, or Wikipedia, right? And so these are really lessons that think, oh my God, I really need to be very, very careful before I say, no, it's not going to work, or it's not going to happen.
I mean, yeah, on that note, I have been particularly drawn to a lot of the agenda that's highlighted innovation and kind of takes a step away from, I guess, normative cardiovascular research discussion, right? Some of this gut microbiome presentations and discussions, very interesting. Again, kind of ties in a little bit to our COVID understanding of inflammatory disease and how that's affecting patients who are having cardiovascular symptoms. Of course, so much going on right now in atrial fibrillation screening and how technology is progressing there, right? It seems like it's the agenda is really front facing to not only what's happening today, but what we could be talking about tomorrow, which might be a late breaking session next year, right? In terms of our adoption of technology and an extended understanding of the cardiovascular system. So it all seems very interesting from that front.
No, undoubtedly. And, if we had been a physical Congress, we would have had a whole area dedicated to that, and including investors and people who would look and meet people with ideas to see whether they would help funding them and putting them to fruition. So that is something that we have to learn to do differently if we're not going to have a physical event next year.
I was about to ask, you think that's something that we can't return to in the way that we were before?
I like the idea of having a hybrid, a fantastic event, physical, if possible, that, however, does not exclude people linking in, people who cannot come, or people who have other responsibilities, people who still have to, they cannot, for many reasons, they cannot or would not come to the ESC Congress. So for me, you know, I would like to retain this world view, global view, and at the same time, I would like to have a local event from where to launch. I mean, the fact that we are physically here, I think it makes a big difference for us, a huge difference every day, you know, that we can meet with a group of people locally here and have a real discussion. It is really makes a big difference.